Hello there guys, my name is Jay or DA and welcome back to another episode of Indie Gaming with myself. So what we are looking at today is a game called Terra Tech, which is a fairly new indie game. It came out last year and they've been updating it quite a lot recently. And the most recent update was the 31st of October 2016, which was of course Halloween. So they are still updating this thing and it's still in the sort of early access stages. And as a game, this is amazing because it's like a sandbox construction and fighting game, and I think this game's really good for like younger generations. And I think if if your kids like building something that looks quite cartoony and whatever, I think you'd enjoy this because there's lots of really cool contraptions and flying machines and whatever else you can make. And I really do think there's a lot of longevity with this because there's a lot of things you can build. Everything's completely random to what you want to build, and essentially you'll drive around with some guns, shoot other crafts, and essentially steal parts from them to grow your own ships and cars and whatever else. And it is just really, really cool and really, really fun. So what you're going to do is going to click start a new game, and what we can do is we can either do campaign, we can do sumo, we're going to do Gauntlet, which Gauntlet is essentially, it's like a racing and fighting sort of area. Then we've got the Sumo, which is like you wrestle other techs, as they call them, which is quite cool. And then the campaign is literally just driving around sort of a terrain, and you can essentially just pick up new crafts and whatever else. Pick up ores and resources because you can actually drill and collect ores and resources, and you can sell them, or you can refine them further and then you can sell them to get more money to actually purchase more tech, which is really cool. So let's click play and get into it because there is a lot to this game and I haven't really got too far with it. But you essentially start off in this thing that looks like a nuclear bomb, and you crash land and you have to sort of collect bits and bobs to get you going in the game. And this is like the starting intro screen, which I find pretty cool. It's quite nice because it kind of just jumps into it, which is pretty cool. So this is our box, this is the cab, this is like our control center. So if I just use my right click, I can basically scroll around. You can zoom in, and as you see, this is where we would control our our craft from. So this is our sort of place to sit. And what we can do is we can drop blocks onto this, and it does give you quite a couple of things here. It actually drops you a couple of wheels, so we can strap some wheels onto this and we can make a little car. Now there are some elements of physics on this because if you say if you put too much weight on the front or the back, you get performance increases or decreases with that. So depending on how you build the craft is very much dependent on sort of how well you'll fare up with other people, and because you might be a lot slower than other people, you might need to have more powerful wheels or more wheels. You might need to do it that way, or you could turn to flying if you unlock the tech for that. So we've reassembled our basic tech. Now apparently B is to activate the build beam, which we can then sort of drive around using the A, W, S and D. And if you notice, when we sort of go down hills and whatever, we brake, and because there's a bit of weight on the front, this thing actually leans more to the front. So if we put this on the back, we actually balance out a little bit more. So stopping doesn't really make us lunge too much forward. So we have spacebar, which launches a gun, and this is essentially gonna drop an enemy. This is like an enemy drop sort of symbol, and we're gonna try and kill him. Now guns in this are very much oh wow, oh god, I'm wheeling, shut out. So guns in this are quite they do aim and whatever. I've just kind of tipped over here. Oh, there we go. So for whatever reason I actually tipped this whole thing over, which was a bit weird and a bit funny. But what we're going to do is we're just going to keep adding to this. Now I am going to try and protect the cab as much as possible because the cab is quite crucial to staying alive, and I'm also going to put this back wheel on so we don't tip up as much. That's going to keep us from tipping, which is very, very useful because of course we almost could have come into a bit of bother then because we tipped a bit too far forwards and almost buggered ourselves up basically. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to take this extra gun, and we've also took all the extra bits and bobs, and we're going to sort of add these to our craft. And if you notice, the craft itself does handle a little bit better now, and then we've got a bigger footprint. It still sort of tilts forward because obviously we've got this out of balance sort of look. But if you hold A and D, it's not just turning the wheels, it'll essentially just activate them for you and turn you on like a dime, which is quite cool. So let us head over to this other spot. Now we do have somebody else dropping in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to wait for them and we're going to attack. And this guy is a little bit quicker than the other guy. The other guy is a bit of a dummy, but he's going to try and run around us and get behind us to try and shoot us, because that's what he thinks is going to work best. So we're just going to keep driving around and we're going to sort of try and get him by reverse. Now I found reversing and attacking is quite useful, because you move a bit, you move a bit better going backwards if the enemy's going forwards and whatever, and you sort of catch them out that way. And the AI is actually pretty tough sometimes. It can be pretty annoying because you get like these quite big ships, because these aren't the biggest you can get even bigger. And yeah, so as you see, we just destroyed him. And he did lose a wheel and, what's that, an extra drill? No, it's a light actually, so we can put that light on and whatever. And when it turns night time, we can essentially use that light, which is quite useful. There is a mark on the map which is telling us to go that way. I might actually move this light to the centre of the cab so we balance this out a bit more, because it is becoming a little bit unbalanced when we move stuff. But also, if you notice, that back wheel is turning with all of our other wheels, so they do turn with you, and those wheels would tend to be used for they tend to be used for like planes and whatever else on like the rear end of a plane, which is quite useful and cool. So what we actually have is this thing, which is essentially like a solar farm. So we can drop certain tech modules onto a solar farm, and this is like a healing beam. So if we took any damage to any of the parts, as you can see, it's telling us here that most of the ship is damaged. When it stops flashing, that essentially means we're fixed. So we are nice and 100% now, so we can crack on and get on with killing stuff. But I have found it's best to take them with you. We're just going to try and kill this guy if we can, get him kind of stuck. Maybe back up a little bit. There we go. And what I think we might do, oh, he lost his block, and we're going to take his other gun and we're going to mount it a little bit further back so we are a little bit more balanced. But we do have some wheels here, so we could try and figure something out with this. So we just drag all the tech to the side and drag all that drill over. We could probably build up like a nice little turret mount here. So we strap all our guns on there and maybe keep a gun at the front, and then we've sort of decreased the size of the ship, but we've made sure it's more stable, if anything. So we can move around a lot better now. It's not as long, so we're not going to get as much problems with like the turn circle and whatever else, which is again something you try and do with this. You try and make your ship as easy and as maneuverable as possible, because if not, then you can come into some real hassle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this with us because we can. I like to take these things with you because you can just drop them down wherever you want to. I'm going to throw that away and I'm going to put this on the back. So yeah, so we can drive around. But as you see, it's still very clunky, this craft. So we're going to take the back wheel off. We're going to put this here and turn it into part of the ship, so it's a bit more stable. There we go. So we're moving a lot quicker now. Notice how it was a little bit sluggish before, but now we are moving with good speed, and we're sort of getting a little bit of air then on the jumps and whatever. That was pretty cool. So we are heading, I think, over to get the radar. The radar will just give us a little better mini map essentially that will show us where the enemies are, and it gives you a good way of navigating around people so you don't get in trouble, because you could easily walk into one enemy, but then if you're close to another one, of course those will come and attack you as well, and they all tend to fight against each other because they're kind of just not neutral, but they tend to be just attack anyone, like free-for-all. So you tend to sort of try and stay away from them. But if you also notice, we've actually just moved into a different biome, because we did have that like grassland biome, and then we've actually moved into this more deserty biome, which I'm unsure whether the biomes affect your movement speed or whatever. But yeah, so here we are. We have a little thief here, which we're gonna attack and hope that he's derpy enough not to. Yeah, he's struggling to get away then. So he really did struggle then, and we kind of just murdered him. So that's okay. That's fine. So we have a couple of beefier wheels here, which might be handy. So what we're gonna do is just gonna swap out our small wheels for the bigger wheels, which give us more traction, I believe, on this sort of surface as well as on anything else in general. What we're also going to do is we're going to take off this module, drop this on. We'll probably move these wheels back a bit. We're going to drop that on there, and probably put some central wheels in just to give us a bit more speed and support maybe. Yeah, there we go. Look, these wheels really do give us a little bit more oomph now, so we can move a lot faster than before, which is brilliant. So what I maybe would want to try and do is configure this a bit better to defend the cab a bit more, maybe by putting some blocks on the side so it's sort of buried inside everything. And I might try and do that a little bit later. What's that? What is that? It dropped another radar. Why do we need 2 radars? Okay. There we go. So it dropped another radar for us, which was very weird. Being as we have been in a bit of a fight, I'm going to drop this solar farm down, and then we're going to pop that light off for now. And we're just going to get our bubble. I'm going to drive inside the bubble. Anything that needs fixing will get fixed. Of course, we will need to maneuver ourselves a bit better so everything gets fixed. But as you can see, we're doing pretty well. We haven't taken that much damage, which is good. And we're just going to pop that back there, put our light back on so we can see in the dark. And we'll head over to the next point, which is for the battery. The battery will allow us to use things on the move. So you can charge up the battery with the solar farm, I believe. And then you can essentially use things that would require battery just for general use. And the battery will only have so much use. So you might have like an energy weapon that requires battery power rather than just being able to work from the power of the cab. So you might need batteries for that, and then if you run out of batteries you can't use those guns, so you might have to have a bit of a trade-off between using certain guns and whatever else. So we do actually have the battery, but it's stuck up on this tree, so we're gonna drive at this tree and we're gonna break it down with our little drill bit, which is quite nice. And when I first found that out, I was like, that's really cool. That's a super cool thing to do. So if you notice, the battery is actually providing us with a healing aura, and basically it's telling us that it's using the battery, and essentially to recharge this we'd have to take the module off and strap this to the solar farm and basically recharge the battery and make it so that it can have this permanent healing bubble around us all the time. Because this is a very, very useful little thing that, again, if we do start taking damage in battle, it will automatically heal us again, so we can do that. Now this is also going to take us to the shield bubble, because the shield bubbles are again like a protective aura rather than defensive with the repair. It's more of it's more of a defensive than offensive. So the sort of the healing aura you could use that while in battle, and you just repair if you manage to get away quick enough and then go back into battle. But if you say wanted to be a bit more defensive, be able to run up to the enemies, shoot them a lot without taking a lot of damage, you'd use the shield instead. So we're just going to drive over to this dude. I think it's a dude, yeah, a little robber, and we're gonna nail him. There we go. So the healing aura is actually kicking in here, and he's finding it very difficult to attack us. We just lost some bits because he was doing more damage than we could actually repair, but we can put that on and we can fix and whatever else. So let us drop the battery on the floor. We'll drop that down here. We'll drop that back on there. That's going to recharge. That's going to provide us with a shield bubble, which we may not need. What we might need though is we might need that there, so we can heal any parts in the vicinity and keep us going. Now, as I said before, we're gonna just defend the cab a bit more by putting some more blocks around it, so we can, not die as quick, which should be nice. And then I think we might be able to extend the back axle. No, we won't. We'll just have to extend the front out and strap on these beefier wheels, because that craft has a matching pair of beefy wheels, so we can use those instead. Do know, if you do come across a sales place where you can actually sell stuff, it's best to keep some things on here that you may not particularly need at the moment, but you might want to make some money off of them, because they're quick sources of income, because this does rely on its own little system of buying, purchasing stuff and selling stuff to make more money to get other things. So you might need to look at keeping things and just make sure what you sell is exactly what you want to sell, because sometimes I've sold things that I shouldn't really have, and I kind of screwed myself over a little bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll put the guns on the side, that one on top obviously. We'll keep this shield bubble thing with us. We'll take the battery, which will provide us with that cool little aura, And do we take this with us, or I personally think take it with us and maybe put the radar down here. So if we were to get rid of these wheels, we put the radar down on the side and the light down on the side, and then we can take all this with us. So we can, no, I'll put the light on top, the bubble there, and then that at the back. So that battery's probably going to run out ridiculously quickly because you need more batteries to keep everything going appropriately. But look, we're a freaking self-contained badass mobile now, which is really cool. I like the way that all the crafts handle on this, because it is really cool to watch them move around and whatever. I'm still unsure whether you can turn different modules off on the craft. That'd be really cool if you could. But yeah, it's not too much to worry about. So let's head over to this, which is a bad guy, because as you see, the radar is telling us about any bad guys in the vicinity, and he's probably gonna have a good time. He's gonna struggle to attack us, because we've got more defensive and offensive sort of weaponry. We've actually run out of the battery now, so we would have to recharge everything for the next battle. But if he did have a battery on him, then that would be really, really useful. But by the looks of it, he doesn't, so we're gonna have to go with one or the other. So let's drop this back down, and let's put the healing aura up, and let's charge the battery. So we'll do that. This will repair us. And what did he actually have? What did he drop? So one thing is we can extend the axles out on the side. So you could drop this, get this back, point that in there. So we're just like kind of growing out quite gradually, but sensibly, I think, because I've seen some people I've actually did a bit of research watching how all this works beforehand, and some people just kind of go balls to the wall with everything, and you kind of find yourself with a bit of a clunky ship, and I didn't want that. I want something that works. So here I am with this weird ass beast. So what else can we have? We can put another gun on, I guess. We can put these on the side, because if you do right click while you're placing, you can put down other guns. Now these guns will as you say, they will sort of track sort of the enemies, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem sort of shooting people with those, even though they are in a bit of an awkward position. But yeah, so I think we're going to add some wheels back on, because I'm going to seriously sell up a lot of this when we go and find that sort of sales place. So I think the days of this light are over, and this gun, it's a light machine gun. It does give us some fast fire, but these little energy weapons are quite good, so I'm going to throw that out of the way. I'm going to put the light on the front to take the battery and drop it on. So there we are, we have a shield. Now I think this stays up, so we can come back here whenever we need to recharge. So we can see that on the map if we do need to come back here at any stage. But look how quick we actually move on this terrain now with all these tyres that we have. It's brilliant. I think the only thing we would have issues with is our mining capacity and whatever, because we would need to start fitting on a refinery and things like that. So we've actually it's telling us to go on a bit of a salvage mission at the moment. So we're going to use our pew-pews to follow him and shoot parts. We're going to track him down. Here we go. He flipped himself over then by accident, which is quite funny. Dead? Okay, there we go. That was quite funny, because he flipped himself by accident. So we kind of won that fight, which is good. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick these off again, and we'll rotate these side guns around. There we go. And we'll probably take his other pew-pew. And yes, there we go. So we can just head back to this healing aura. Oh, well, yeah, the healing aura, sorry. So we can just fix ourselves up whenever we need to. I actually think the healing aura lasts longer than the thingy one, whatever you want to call it. And I'm also going to get rid of that. And we're going to put on the extra machine gun, which is here. So we're going to drop that down, rotate ourselves around, and drop it on. Now, of course, the issue I'm going to have here is if I want to take this battery off to recharge, We're going to, of course, have to take it off and recharge it, which is a bit of a nightmare. It's not too bad, I guess, but we will have to try and figure out a better way of recharging this battery without needing to rip everything out of the heart of the craft. So let's put that back on. Got our bubble back. And let's rotate the turrets back around so we can crack on and go and kill some more people. 2 out of 5. And once we get 3 out of 5, we should be good to, I think it sends you on to a bit of a, not a boss, but like quite a big enemy, which you'll probably struggle to fight if you don't sort of go around and salvage a lot. This guy's doomed. So this guy, absolutely doomed. Pow. He was doomed from the start. He just didn't know what hit him then. We've got lots of guns, and because we've got guns facing in different directions, that means we can hit them from all sides, essentially, so we can like broadside them. Kind of like a boat. This guy actually has a battery on his craft, which might be fairly interesting to have. There we go. So we could have a second battery. There we go. Got behind him. My shield's down. But hopefully we'll... There we go. Crippled, dead. So we actually lost a gun then, because if you noticed, the front end started to sort of crumble a little bit. So what we're going to do is we will increase again the capacity on the front, only on the one side, because I don't think there are any more blocks around, are there? Oh no, he's got a couple. So we'll pinch one of these, and we'll again sort of... It's kind of turned out to look a bit like a centipede. Ooh. Do that. It's, the front battery actually got absolutely hammered, so it might be worth taking the batteries out of the way for a second and dragging this forwards, and then the batteries can sort of sit at the back and be a little bit more protected. And we can also take his drills, so we can increase our drilling capacity, which is nice. He actually had a load of drills on that, didn't he? Jesus. We'll put a light on. Can we put a light on? We'll put a light on there, just so we know where our healing aura is. And still got a radar, which is good. Now, do I want a machine gun? Or actually, I'll put that machine gun there. We'll just go a bit gung-ho on this. There we go. And that's really bothering me, so we're going to match it up here. There we go. Let's go back to the healing aura, fix ourselves up. Recharge both of our new batteries, because we have 2 batteries now rather than just the one, which is brill, and that means we can double our sort of shield capacity for a good period of time. And I'll be honest, these auras really do the job really quickly in terms of fixing the craft, which is always good, because I always worried with these games where you get like these recharge zones and you might spend more time sitting inside a bubble than you would actually fighting. But there's a nice balance with this. We've just got to kill one more enemy, and then we're all good to go. So we will hopefully get this salvage mission out of the way, and then yeah, we'll have to see what other enemies it throws at us, and then I think that's about it, because there is a lot more to this game in terms of like the trading system and stuff like that, where you can go in and trade stuff off so you can get more money, or block books as they call it. But I mean, that does take a while to get into. You have to sort of drive around a lot more to sort of find all those things and whatever. And I want you guys to go and check it out, to be honest, because I would say if you've got like a younger child, or even if you're just somebody of my age and you like something a bit more cartoony to play, that's got a bit more of a challenge in terms of you've got to keep growing to sort of live and survive. And I actually did I lose that wheel, or did that just pop? Yeah, it just appeared underneath me. That was weird. There's freaking random tires appearing. This guy is doomed. You are doomed, bro. I'm sorry. Yes, you are doomed. And dead. There we go. So this actually turns us to go to the trading station now, so we can head over there if we really want to. I'm unsure whether to take the aura with me. I might ditch the tyres and take the aura, because we might need it. And it's always useful to have one of these. I've only found a couple of ships that will actually carry these until you start working up to the bigger crafts. So yeah, we'll actually head over there. We'll take this with us, and I'll show you guys how those sort of elements work. And then I think that's a good point to sort of leave on. So let us just floor it, shall we, over to there, which it does look pretty far away. It doesn't really give you an element of distance with these points. It just kind of says just keep driving in that general direction. And we are pretty quick, so we should get there in good time. I'm actually glad we've got that back wheel on, because that back wheel helps us with tipping, because if we were to drive up too steep of a hill, we might tip or we just might slow down, but you never know. So here we are. Have a train station, but has quite a big bruiser on there, which we really need to try and kill. Fortunately, we have some sort of defense. There we go. Whoa, Jesus. And we've upgraded our tech level. So we have a new drill, which drills and whatever a lot faster. It has a bit more reach. And we have some new big and bulky tyres. So we can sort of get rid of these ones, or we could keep these ones if we really wanted. We could just extend out the back end here and then sort of drop these on. These are more for the underbelly of the ship, so it's more for raising it off. It's so if that makes any sense, but looks a bit loopy, this craft actually. Looks actually it looks, I don't know, it looks kind of cool. Looks kind of cool. There we go. It's what you get when you mix me and you know, somebody who plays Space Engineers a lot with this game, I guess. And we also have a strip light that sits on the back, which we could put on the front if we wanted to at some point. And I'm unsure whether we're going to get a weird meshing issue with the tyres. But we're going to sell a lot anyway at the moment. So what you can do here is basically any tech that you find, you can drop it into here. Any blocks and whatever else, you can just take them and drop them onto this, and you can sell them for quite a lot. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not gonna ever sort of start selling stuff, I don't want to trade on this, it forces you to, because that is like a crucial element of the game. You know, part of this game is the fighting, but also this is the way you make money, by sort of salvaging parts. And if you notice, I'm already like on $2,000, which is pretty good. I'm on like, you know, 1930, but you can literally just dump a load of stuff in here and get loads of money from it, which I think is pretty cool. And I didn't really find this out until later in the game, because I was very much like, oh, why do I want to sell stuff? And I was very much in that frame of mind. And then I figured it out, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can make an absolute fortune from this, and it is worth my time. And it really is, because if you actually click in this, right click in this, you actually see how much stuff is worth. And like a new cab is like 435, so if you wanted to build like a secondary craft, or you've got like the plows, which are quite a lot, and then you've got the tyres. So if we go on the wheel blocks, the wheels we've unlocked at the moment, the riser wheels, if we wanted to upgrade those on the front, we're looking at, you know, like 270 a piece. So it's a good job we've got $3,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to click that because we want one, I think. Do you just click them? I know you have to purchase, and it just kind of throws them out at you. But we want to purchase those. We're going to dump our old tyres out of the way, and we're going to sort of place these underneath. There we go. And we're going to sort of wheel ourselves round and forwards. Oh. There we go. It's a bit awkward at the moment because we're not on the same level. So dump that in there as well, and rotate round. There we go. This is our monstrosity. Now that little back wheel really isn't useful anymore. But what we can do is we can actually drop it down and drop this back on. So that means it sort of controls us from tipping, which is great. We also have another battery. Jesus. All the batteries. I actually struggled to get batteries last time when I sort of did a whole new game on this when I first did it. And we even have another, is that like a shield aura? What is it? Yeah, shield bubble. So we have another one of them. So yeah, that is essentially this game. That's Terra Tech. It's a really, really nifty little game, and it is quite cheap on the workshop. And I would seriously suggest you guys buying it, because it is really, really cool and really, again, nifty. And the things you can build when you start looking at really, really big things is ridiculous and cool. So what is this actually telling us to do? Right click on the corner terminal for trading and purchase a collector. So it's asking us to purchase a collector. So we want the standard blocks. So we have a collector which essentially could pick up parts for us and resources. So what do we want? We want manufacturing blocks. Here we go. So we have a thimble collector here. So if we click on that, and that drops out. Essentially, if we were to go and mine some resources, which we can do, there should be something close. Here we go. We have this close, which we have all the drills on the front of our craft to drill it out with. So let's just have a crack at it. It does drop the resources, but essentially the collector will pick up the resources for us, and it'll only hold 3 at the moment. You can get bigger collectors when you get bigger crafts, but you could say get 4 of these collectors and walk around with all of them, and essentially when you drive up to this trading station it drops them off for you. So as you can see, each one of those is worth 50, but if I had a refinery on this as well, I could refine them further. So say if it was gold, you could get gold ore and then refine it into gold bars, and the bars are more expensive than the ore, so you could sort of make a bit more money from doing that. And yeah, this has been Terra Tech, guys. If you guys have enjoyed the video and if you find it quite interesting, then don't forget to go and check it out on the Steam Workshop. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a thumbs up. If you haven't, you know where the button is, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.